Okay, this is the video for day 17 of the 2019 R Advent Calendar. On the last couple days, we have encountered a couple of little bugs with things like column names and whatnot. I actually think those are really useful. That's the type of stuff you're going to run into all the time as an R programmer. So it's great to encounter them in this type of situation where it's a little bit controlled and we can talk about how to fix them. All right, well, let's just get right into it. Day 17. We are going to look at summary statistics. It looks like there is a lot of code from today, so I'm just going to jump right into copying it over into the script that I've had going all along. And we will just sort of work through it as we go. Give me just a moment to copy this in. Like I said, I am doing this just in real time. I'm not looking ahead. I'm trying to encounter this just like you all are seeing it when you go through. So I'm just going to copy everything and then I will talk through what each of these functions is doing. As I'm doing this, I will give you my regular daily reminder to make sure that your working directory is set and that you've read in some of the data sets. It looks like we need data sets from the trees that we read in yesterday. And we're going to make another vector. Okay, so the first thing it has to do is make this vector called Xmas, which looks like just a series of naughty and nices. And it also has us make a vector of kids' ages. Both of those look to be the same length. So I think we're going to do something with that in a minute, but let's just move right along. So those are just making vectors. You all should be pretty familiar with that from several days ago. We've been kind of using that throughout. Now, you can use this function max and min to get the maximum and minimum of each of those, of the vector. And so we can see the maximum kid's age is 10, the minimum is 2. We can run the mean to get the mean, 5.75. And then we can also use this function tapply. Let's look at the help for that one. Again, the autocomplete being a little bit aggressive with me here, but regardless. So tapply says it's going to apply a function to each cell of a ragged array, which is kind of an interesting way to put it. But pretty much we're going to give it the kid's age as the first argument or vector, and then the Xmas vector as the next one, and say take the mean. And so what that's going to do is line it up by naughty and nice and take the mean. Hopefully that makes sense. So in other words, this child that's 2 would be assigned as naughty, this child that's 6 would be nice, this child at 7 would be nice, and so on. And then we get a mean for each of those. And split them out here, and it looks like the naughty kids are just a little bit older. Yeah, so exactly. So this is pretty much describing, you give it the x values and then the factors and then the function. All right, so we're going to move on from those to the tree data. I've still got the tree data read in from yesterday's exercise, so we're just going to run a summary on it, on the height alone. So we're using this $sign to pull out just the height column. And we can see that the minimum is 4, the maximum is 7.7, and then we get the first quartile, the median, the mean, and the third quartile all in the summary statistics. We can also take the mean of specific columns, and these are on some of the subsets. So for pines and spruces, we see that the Christmas magic for pines is a little less. I think I would agree with that. I tend to prefer spruces myself. And then we can also run a t-test to ask if those are significantly different from one another. So we run this and it says it's a Welch 2-sample t-test. And the p-value is right here, 0.003. That would usually meet statistical significance. It also gives you some other information about the t-test. Again, as always, if you're interested in seeing what those functions do, you can use the question mark operator to, it'll describe. And actually, it'll often have references, although I don't see them here, so I guess I was wrong. But occasionally what you'll find uh, in the help is a reference to a paper, and that'll help you get even more detail on the exact operation that's being done. All right, so it looks like the pines and spruces have significantly different Christmas magic. So hopefully, I mean, we ran through a lot of functions very quickly, but these are just ways to get different summary stats about your data. And this is kind of a nice thing to reference later on. It might come in handy. All right, that went a lot smoother than the last couple of days. So hopefully we're through some of the major bugs and we're smooth sailing to the end. If you have any questions, as always, please ask. Otherwise, I will talk to you tomorrow.